Before we get started with this week's episode, I wanted to jump on here real quick and wish you guys a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. I hope you guys are going to have a good one and definitely find a way to make it fun for yourself this year. I know a lot of us are not going home for the holidays. We're still dealing with COVID and the cases are pretty fucking high right now. And so it's nothing to fuck with. Let's just say that. COVID is nothing to fuck with. But before we get into the show, I just want to say this. I highly suggest you go to our YouTube channel and watch this week's episode there. There's going to be a bunch of visual content that we play the audio for on the podcast that just won't make sense. If you go to our YouTube channel, it'll be a much better experience. You'll see the insanity that we're talking about as you hear it on the show. So head on over to YouTube, look up In Love with the Process, you'll find it, and subscribe to us. And for those of you who do subscribe, you're in for a treat, because as we push into the new year, we'll be uploading more and more footage. And hopefully if we get out of this crisis, which we will, we'll start videotaping the show and we'll make it a bigger and better YouTube experience. But jump on the bandwagon now, subscribe, and strap yourselves in. It's a great episode. So here's a question for you guys. How much time do you spend online? Have you guys downloaded those apps that keep track of the amount of time that you spend on Instagram and the amount of time you spend on YouTube? I find myself constantly getting lost in either a YouTube hole or an Instagram hole and just falling deep into the crazy world that is the internet these days. And we live in a time period where, as content creators, there are so many different formats out there, right? It isn't just feature films anymore. It isn't just television shows, but now you're dealing with short content. You're dealing with music video content, which has been around for a while, but even smaller than that, you're into the TikTok range. At one point it was Vine, and now it's all about meme creation. It's a crazy world that just seems to be getting shorter and shorter and shorter with all the attention spans out there. And every once in a while, in the sea of memes, in the sea of just like dopamine trash, there are clips that float to the surface for me. And there are videos that I rewatch over and over again. There are pieces that make me chuckle. And most of the time, it's because whoever has been creating it has a dark sense of humor. has like a really great editing skill and style. And that's how I found today's guest. And I've been following this guy for quite some time. It took a little while for me to get in touch with him to get him on the show, but I'm very happy I did because you guys are in for a treat today. Today we're hanging out with the amazing Mike Diva. Now, if you're not familiar with his work, do yourself a favor right now. Just type him into YouTube, or type him into your web browser, look at his website, and take a second. I'll wait as it loads. And then as you scroll through, check him out. Look up Mike Diva online. Scroll through, and then go, oh fuck, he made that video. Oh shit, he did this video too. Fuck, I love that video. That's exactly what I did when I was looking up his work. I went, fuck, I had no idea that this guy did Sexy Sax Man. Right? How many of you guys going, yes, Sexy Sax Man? Fuck yeah. The origins of that. My favorite thing that he did was a short called Pre-Birth that had the creepiest looking demons with triangular, fucking black triangular heads smashing babies to create a song beat. We talk about it on the episode. We talk about the repercussion of making something like that. It's hysterical. This is a really good episode for you guys because if you go through his list of stuff, he made that crazy Donald Trump commercial that was from Japan, supposedly from Japan, that was pro Donald Trump back in 2016. Hysterical. Little did he know that he would end up be predicting the next 4 years of our fucking lives at that point. And then I know I was talking to Tran here at the apartment, and he's a huge fan of his Kill the Noise video, which he did back in 2012, which when you look at what he was doing at that time period, especially for like the new retro wave movement and the synth wave movement, he was kind of at the forefront of this stuff. And he's one of those early guys that got in at the early stages of YouTube and was able to establish himself as a creator on YouTube and built a pretty massive audience with it, making insane little videos that ultimately have been seen by people that work for the US government. If you look at his client base after that, from where he's gone from making crazy little dog memes and videos about shooting his brother in the face to like doing stuff for government agencies. It's pretty fucking crazy. It's really cool. This is a great episode. It's a very inspiring episode, especially for those of you that are listening to the show. I know a lot of you guys are YouTube creators. I know a lot of you girls out there are from all over the planet taking your iPhones and creating content. And more often than not, you ask yourself, well, where could this fucking go, right? I made this funny little clip, but then what? You know, how often do you show that stuff to your parents where they go, that's cute. You're making stuff for YouTube. Great. What's your job goal? What's your job plan? Mike's got a really interesting story about all that stuff. You actually see the progression of making small clips to doing huge commercial campaigns. He recently just did, if you haven't seen it yet, he just did the new Run the Jewels video for the Cyberpunk video game. And it's fucking fantastic. It's his most polished piece yet. And we talk about how he pulled that off. We talk about how he worked with a team of like graphic designers and visual effects artists all over the world to make that piece work, and how long it takes to do these pieces. Really cool stuff. It's a great episode. I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm excited to be able to get you this content. And thank you everybody who have been consistently following me on Instagram at Mike Pecci on Instagram, or following the podcast In Love with the Process Pod. That's In Love with the Process POD on Instagram. There you guys have been suggesting people. I think was today's episode, it might have been a suggestion from one of you guys. And I think someone sent me a link going, you got to get Mike Diva on the show. And I went, fuck yeah, I've been trying to get him on the show. And then it made it happen. So I read your comments. I read your messages on there. So if you have ideas for other guests that you want me to get on the show, and you don't have to be realistic about it. I'd like to get Arnold Schwarzenegger on the show too, and I will continuously hound him until we get him on the show. It's fine. Send me the craziest idea. Someone that you're obsessed with. Someone that I have no idea exists. Because remember, I'm practically a 40-year-old man sitting on his front fucking porch at this point. So there's a lot of really cool shit out there that you youngsters know more about than I do. So send me your ideas. And we will try to get them on the show. And then I can say fuck to them a bunch, and they can say asshole back to me, and then we'll, give you some good entertainment. In the meantime, if you're a newcomer to the show, and you guys just joined us for this episode because you liked the promotional material we made for it, you're like, wow, shiny colors, and you just showed up, welcome. And if you're looking at the queue list on Apple Podcast or on Spotify, and you're like, man, this is 100 and what episodes? Fuck. How do I get started? Well, you could be like a true comic book fan and go back to issue number 1 and read them all. You know what I mean? Like the true fans did. Like I did when I was a kid. There was no like rebooting every fucking year. Spider-Man number 1 again. Why are you doing Spider-Man number 1 again? Did the story change? No, it's the same fucking story. I just have to change the number because the kids won't pick it up. Fuck you guys. No, you don't have to do that. You can go to inlovewiththeprocess.com. There I've curated episodes of the podcast based upon the subject material. So if you just want to listen to all director episodes, they're all there. If you want to listen to episodes with the chefs that we do, or the musicians, or the crew members, they're all listed based on category. Or if you want a sampler, we have like the top 20. I think it's going to become top 25. Top 25 episodes, which is a great sample plate of some of the best shows that we've done so far. And if you're a newcomer and you haven't had a chance to go back and you're looking for content, because we're all looking for stuff to listen to, go listen to the earlier episodes of the show. You can hear the progression of our show. You can hear my emotional progression as you go through the whole thing. And there's a lot of really great episodes back then. Can't believe we've been doing the show for over 3 years. It's nuts. It's nuts. But besides that, without further ado, let's not hold back. Strap yourselves in, grab those noise-canceling headphones, and get ready to go on a psychedelic trip with me and Mike Diva on the brand new episode of In Love with the Process. Mike, thanks for being on the show, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Mike and
together.
Mike. Mike squared. It's gonna be cool, man. Very excited to have you on the show. Been a big fan of your stuff for a long time. I think the first thing that really pulled me in was your pre-birth short that you did.
Oh.
I fucking love that, dude. It's a great piece.
That pissed a lot of people off.
I couldn't imagine why.
Yeah, I got death threats for that one.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if you knew this, but like the QAnon people got really involved with that video and were very convinced that I was part of the Hollywood's tainting of the children, and basically called me an omnivore, a Satanist omnivore, or I'm sorry, Satanist pedivore, which means that I eat babies.
Nice.
I didn't know pedivore was a thing. I Googled it and I was like, oh, I guess I eat babies. Cool. And I got a lot of shit for it on like all my stuff, all my like comments on every single one of my videos, calling me a monster and blah blah blah. I'm part of the Illuminati, and usually I like to put Illuminati symbolism and stuff in my stuff just for fun.
Yeah.
It's really really funny to me, and just like triangles and whatever. But I think I took it a little like one step too far with that one, because I got a lot of shit, and it actually, you know what, it wasn't fun.
I feel like you got to get, like, what is it? Pedivore? Is that what the term is for?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like a fucking metal band. You got to get a jean jacket with that on the back.
I would check them out.
Dude, so fucking cool. This is what I like about your work, is your work is not only dangerous as far as like you pissing people off, but it's also a lot of fun. And I could tell that you've had training as a musician. I could tell that you're an editor, you're on your own. Your sense of pacing and your sense of rhythm, most of the time, that's what's making me laugh first, is that.
Awesome.
Yeah, dude. I think you're incredibly talented. And I can't wait to get into the chaos that must be inside your brain.
Oh, the madness. Be careful what you wish for. No, it's actually, there's not much going on up there. It's a bunch of just junk rattling around. I don't know. But I'm glad you're entertained by my shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother. Well, let's catch the audience up. How'd you get into this business? How'd you get started?
Oh boy. Yeah, man. I've just been let's see. I didn't really have like any video game consoles growing up, so I had to make my own entertainment and make a bunch of little videos, and like, me, this is like before everybody had editing stuff, and so like I stole stuff off of LimeWire and made a bunch of videos and be like like cutting my brother's head off and stuff. And my parents were super supportive and cool with that. And like, oh, that's so nice. You made a video shooting your brother in the face and like cutting his head off. And, I was really into like visual effects stuff back then too. And blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I started a YouTube channel in like 2009 or 8. And like right at the cusp of YouTube. And started uploading stuff there. And I think the first thing that I did that got attention was this video called Sexy Sax Man. Yep. Which ended up being a viral smash hit. Which is funny because it's like totally nothing, like totally the opposite of anything I'm doing now. But it's me and my friend running around with a saxophone playing Careless Whisper. And it's we got on the Jimmy Fallon show for that and stuff like that. It was like a whole thing. And then just kept going from there, and made a bunch of music videos and commercials and whatnot. I had like a second kind of boost on my YouTube channel from doing this Japanese Donald Trump commercial 4 years ago,
which is fantastic. It's fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. It was very it was before I thought that Trump had like a chance at winning. So it was like really funny to me to like make this overwhelmingly positive Trump thing, because like he's such low-hanging fruit, and like all comedians and stuff at the time were just kind of like, oh, it's got crazy hair and orange skin and like like he's a clown. So it's like I wanted to do the opposite of that and kind of do something overwhelmingly positive and Japanese, so that it confused people and made people think like, is this real?
So you're the reason why we had him in there for 4 years, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you can blame me for that. 100%. 100%. And I'm sorry, I fucked up. That was a big mistake. That's a video that I watch now and I'm like, oof, this is creepy. This is not even fun anymore.
Yeah, it was like a strange vision of the future.
Dark, really.
Yeah.
Bleak. Yeah. And then I've been doing, I got more into the commercial realm. I did this Halo Top ice cream commercial with a with a robot force feeding an old senile lady ice cream in a totalitarian future chamber, and that got some attention from the ad world. And I've been doing little commercial work stuff here and there, and music video stuff here and there. And right now, I'm trying to get a couple features off the ground, and here we are.
Dude, you and I live in the same world, man. Same sort of stuff for me too. So I completely understand. Completely understand that world.
It's tricky.
Yeah, but the other thing that really sort of caught my attention too was the original the Kill the Noise video that you did. Like,
oh wow, yeah,
back in like 2012. And I was talking with one of my buddies here about it, and he was like, "How the fuck were you doing the VFX stuff back then? Because like desktop computers were still trying to catch up with a lot of the rendering and everything else. Like, did you do all the effects on your own for that?"
No. I had help. I had my buddy Kyle Natal in Canada helping with a lot of the crazier shit.
Yeah.
And a couple other, people for like the stuff like the glowing eyes. Like I didn't want to like hand track a bunch of glowing eyes frame by frame.
Right.
Which was some poor fucker had to do. And yeah, so help here and there, for sure. Like I'm not a huge CG guy. I'm more of a compositing guy. So like anything with like 2D compositing, I'm good. But like when it gets into the CG realm, I'm pretty clueless. But yeah, so that was like that video took, to answer your question, the way we were able to do it is that video took like a fucking year.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, we had very little money, very, very little money for that thing. I'm actually gonna be on. I'm talking with Kill the Noise tomorrow on his little podcast thing.
Oh, cool, man! Right. Like you could see the progression too, because then you go from that video to the recent Run the Jewels video, and it's like, okay, so this is the years of experience. This is the refined version of that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it definitely. I feel like it's definitely my most polished video so far, and it's took a lot of work. It was not easy.
I could only imagine. Like, how many effects houses did you have working on that? Was it a bunch of different people, or
only one effects house, and then individual, like I have this guy Ethan Chancer that I work with a lot, that was like the lead VFX supervisor / like did a bunch of the shots. And then I had this guy in France, FMK7, who helped me.
Mm-hmm.
We basically, I created, like, figured out the sets and the scenes and blah blah blah, and like we had those storyboarded, and then I brought them to this dude that I really love working with, Vincent Vitriot in France.
Mm-hmm.
He goes by FMK7, and he helped me put together the CG environments and stuff like that, and then that was handed off to my guy here, Ethan, who composited and helped me with that end of stuff. And then we had a VFX house, Analog, who ended up doing like half of the shots. And we had these other guys in France that were doing the full CG shots, and these guys in Germany that were doing the all the Run the Jewels stuff. My buddy Calvin, who I've been working with since the Donald Trump thing, actually. Yeah, he just like a German kid who cold emailed me, and I really liked his work, and we've been working together ever since.
The fucking power, the power of the internet, dude. Jesus Christ, like the collaborations are crazy because of it.
Yeah, so it was just like basically staying on Slack 24/7 and giving notes, and because like the second people in the US go to sleep, then everyone else wakes up, and it's just a never-ending Slack cycle.
Yeah. That's crazy
fun stuff.
Well, was that video officially for Run the Jewels, or was that video for the company that did the Cyberpunk stuff? Who was your client on that one?
Oh, like who was my direct client?
Yeah.
It was the company that did the Cyberpunk stuff, CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
And so, as you can imagine, with IP that precious, it's a $400 million game.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of red tape and a lot of like, here's what you can do and here's what you can't do, and like basically they gave me all the art books and all the different elements and stuff from the game, and we're like, just we it needs to be deconstructed, and it needs to be music video-y in a sense that like it can't be misconstrued as this is something from the game,
Right.
but we have to use elements from the game, recontextualized into new art that is inspired by the game, and everything has to be, all the CG and everything has to be models from the game, but it can't look like it's in the game. So it was like this very weird thin line that I had to, there was like 3 iterations of the video. Like the first iteration, it was like I wanted to do like an action like story thing,
Mm-hmm.
And like have an actual like beginning, middle, and end, but it would have been fucking impossible. And then COVID hit right when we started prepping up to shoot, and so we ended up having to go to Atlanta to shoot the Run the Jewels guys, and that took a big chunk out of our budget. And
Sure.
And yeah, it's ultimately though, like I'm really stoked with how much freedom CD Projekt Red actually ended up giving me to kind of just make original cyberpunk art and like, using their elements. And they sent us so much shit from the game. Like I literally just like had a field day with like going through their art books and like, ooh, I want this outfit, I want this gun, I want this car. And like, the poor guys in Warsaw where they're located had to like spend days just giving us assets from the game.
It's cool though, man. How long was the prep on that for you?
Beginning to end, it was probably like, from when we got the job to when it was over, it was like 9 months.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, like COVID slowed things down quite a bit.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
And made it a little bit tricky.
Yeah, I bet, man.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by it because the video itself is incredibly polished. So it's like definitely high end. And so you're looking at something like this and you're like, wow. I mean, it makes sense that you're getting a lot of those resources from the game company, but still it was like, this is a much bigger budgeted, it seems like a much bigger budgeted video that you would ever get for like an artist at this point. So I was like,
oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
it definitely had that game
backing. Yeah.
Backing. Yeah. Although it wasn't that much more than I got for like my Little Nas video.
Okay. Okay.
So like, it just depends. I mean, I don't know. It's budgets vary. Music videos I found, and it's usually not much, but sometimes you get lucky, and I've gotten lucky with these past couple videos.
Very cool.
I mean, yeah, we really just like after the Little Nas Cyberpunk video, we literally just like approached them, and we were like, "What's up? You guys doing a Cyberpunk game? We just did a Cyberpunk video. Do you guys want to fuck?" And then we did. It was great.
Really cool, man. Really cool. I obviously you and I probably have a lot of the same love for references and older movies and like synthwave and all that shit. I love synthwave.
Oh yeah.
But what are some of your favorite movies from when you were a kid? What were the movies that influenced you?
When I was a kid?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Fight Club.
Yeah.
Fight Club, Pulp Fiction. I mean, standard. This is like, I feel like I'm giving like the most like bro ass filmmaker basic bitch.
Totally judging you. Totally judging you right now. Yeah.
Like, but like when I was like 12, like Fight Club was the shit, or 13.
Mm-hmm.
And The Matrix and Terminator 2 and Back to the Future and I'd watch Back to the Future all the time. Terminator 2 I've seen like at least like 200 times.
Of course, that movie's amazing. Of course, and even the first Terminator is just phenomenal, and the whole future flashback sequences and the Linda Hamilton grabbing onto the fence while a fucking nuclear blast like shreds the skin off her. Like I love that sequence.
Oh my god, yeah, that stuck with me.
Recently, I heard an interview. I think it was with James Cameron, where he was saying that a lot of the robotics companies or the AI companies have referenced his movie often. And they I think they called it like the Cyberdyne effect or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's an actual Cyberdyne effect. That's so funny.
Yeah. There's an interview, I'm misquoting it, but there's an interview kicking around somewhere with him where he was laughing and he's just like, yeah, and they know it. And I predicted it and they're still making the shit. He's still he's absolutely afraid of AI. You can
you should be. I think that one of my favorite movies as of late is Ex Machina.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I love any movie that can do a lot with one location and 3 people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of mind-blowing. Yeah, so that's definitely, I mean, a lot of the kind of points they make in that movie, I fully agree on. It's I feel like AI is gonna be a spooky thing that kind of ends up fucking us, but honestly, I'm here for it, and we probably deserve it. So, let our robot overlords come. I welcome them.
I know, but Gina, my girlfriend, got a Roomba, and I'm like, "What are you doing? it's mapping out our whole fucking house. Yeah. It's like it's gonna have little razor blades that come out and fucking cut my ankles. Like, what are you doing?
Don't let that can opener into our house." I love how in all like movies with robots, there's like derogatory robot terms, and it's usually just like calling a robot some lower form of technology, like a can opener or a trash can, or
this fucking toaster. Can. Yeah, this fucking toaster oven.
This is like the N-word for robots.
Fuck, man. Well, all right. So let's get to some of the meat here, because I know our fans are going to want to know. So how'd you guys come up with Sexy Sax Man? Like, where did that come from?
Oh boy. I think that my friend Sergio played saxophone, and Sexy Guy, and he ended up just like, I mean, he would just always be running around playing saxophone anyways. So we thought, like, let's just throw a mullet and a mustache and sunglasses and leather pants on him and just do it all over. And that's it. I mean, the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, you must have gotten some shit though, because you guys stay with it when you start to get into trouble.
Yeah, I was a little rapscallion back then.
Yeah,
I was a little smartass. You can hear me behind the camera, just being a little shit to all these poor security guards that are just doing their jobs. And
it's funny because it's like right before the general public sort of kind of figured out what that shit is. Because after,
the prank stuff, it was
exactly.
right before the whole YouTube prank like phenomenon.
Yeah. So they were still kind of like, is this guy fucking like, is he a mental idiot? Like, what the fuck's going on here? They had no idea that if someone without a shirt and a saxophone comes in and there's a kid following around with a camera, it's probably going on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. I actually have a really funny Sexy Sax Man story.
Oh yeah?
I well, I'll try to like truncate it, but basically the night that I went to New York, okay. If you don't mind me doing a little story time here.
Well, hold on. Before you start, is this the story time that you referenced under that image of you and Jimmy Fallon that you're talking about?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it is. Wow, that is a deep cut.
Okay, because I was going to ask you about this. So go as deep as you want into this, because I want to hear the details of this story.
Yeah. I mean, long story short, I'd been to New York 4 years prior and shooting a music video, and I was hanging out with this rapper, drinking a 40 on the street, and I got rolled on, and I got a ticket. And me being young and dumb, I was like, whatever, I'll just ignore it. I'm never gonna be in New York again. And then we get flown out to do the Jimmy Fallon thing. And that night I'm drinking on the streets with my brother who lived in New York at the time, and Sergio. Mm-hmm. And I had this flask in my back pocket. Cop pulls up. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to give you a drinking in public ticket." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." And he like goes back to his car and comes back, and he's like, "Actually, you have a warrant out for your arrest. I'm gonna have to take you to jail." And so I didn't know this, but like when you go to jail on a Saturday, on a Saturday, you're there till Monday.
Oh Jesus!
Because the court's open on Monday.
Yeah.
So I got thrown into jail. I was there for like 4 hours, and then this guy comes around. He's asking everybody like why they're there. And he asked me why I'm in New York, and I tell him, Jimmy Fallon show. And he perks up. He's like, "Oh, really? For what?" And then he turns out this guard dude was like an aspiring videographer too. And him and I just end up like bullshitting for like literally 20 minutes between the bars. And he is like, you know what, you seem all right. I'm gonna see what I can do to get you out of here. Because, sorry, I left this part out. I had a flight. My flight home was the next day at like noon, and so he like brings this other dude in. By the way, this story totally sounds made up, and it's like insane. This is truly the craziest weekend of my life. So he brings this other dude in, and he's like, he lies to him. He's like, hey, this is my boy. We do video stuff together. Is there anything you can do? He's got a flight in the morning. He's got to get out of here. Is there anything we can do? And so they leave, and then I get pulled out of that jail cell and then driven to another jail, dropped into that jail cell for like an hour, and then taken out into this weird like 1%er like courtroom that like is a weekend thing. I imagine only for like rich and powerful people, because it was like super fancy and nice, and there was barely anybody there. And apparently they got all my charges waived. Wow. And I got to get out of there. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I made it out of that predicament, and I took a taxi to JFK. I was still going to be like an hour late for my flight, so I was still like fucked. Yeah. And I get there, and it turns out that the flight is delayed, and Sergio's waiting for me there at the airport, and it's like totally fine. So we're like, okay, cool. I'm dodging all these bullets. Let's go on the plane. And and Sergio goes, this is our only opportunity that we're ever going to get to do Sexy Sax Man like on a plane. And I'm like, fuck, you're right. This is it. Like, we have to do this. And I'd just gotten out of jail like 3 hours ago. I was like, fuck it. I'm on a roll, baby. Let's go. And he goes into the dressing room, and he puts on his mullet and his mustache and his tight leather pants. And like, I'm sorry, not dressing room, the bathroom. He goes in the bathroom and busts out of the airplane bathroom, just like wailing Careless Whisper up and down the aisles. And the plane like fucking loved it. Like they went nuts for it, right? Yeah. And so he sits back down next to me, and somebody comes up to us, and he's like, hey, you guys are in big trouble. Like, we need you to give us the memory card that you filmed that with. And when we land, you guys need to stay put. And if we weren't, they even said like, if we weren't so close to our destination, we would land this plane right now.
Wow. Wow.
Like, damn. So, basically the plane lands, we get out, and we're surrounded by like, I swear to God, like every, like every kind of officer you can ever imagine, like every authority figure you can ever picture. Like there was like, I swear to God, there was like 2 military dudes, like 2 TSA agents, like 2 federal air marshals, and like 2 like regular cops, and like my mom was there, and my teacher from grade school. No, no, just all the authority figures. And they were all surrounding us, telling us how screwed we were, and basically told me that I'd have 2 felonies. One for, and I shit you not, this will stick with me forever. One for causing a potential terrorist distraction. Post 9/11, you know, it's been around. Yeah, huh? And 2, the second felony for exposing the identity of a federal air marshal, because apparently the guy who walked up to us and told us how screwed we were was a federal air marshal, and I guess that having him get up and expose himself alone is a felony.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Insane.
Yeah, so no fun.
So can you still fly?
Well, so here's the thing. Like we were shitting bricks, and we were like, oh, we're just a couple kids making a YouTube video. We don't know any better. And I shit you not, one of the FBI dudes, like TACFest and everything, is like, are you those kids that made that video on YouTube with the guy running around with the saxophone? And we're like, yes, that's us. That's us. And he was like, all right, these guys are cool. It's fine. And they literally just like let us off with a slap on the wrist, and we were all laughing about it, and it was all fine.
Wow. It
was insane. And they said that we would never be able to release that footage. And, you know, I got it taken from me anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, it's, you know, I got a good story out of it. That was a crazy weekend. That was a crazy 2 days.
Jesus, dude.
I definitely am a lot less of a wild boy now.
Yeah. Oh, man. It reminds me, like years ago, I don't know if I've talked about it on the show. Years ago, we had a similar experience where we were doing a music video for this band As I Lay Dying. And so,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were hired to go out and shoot this video. This was like before the lead singer was put in jail for trying to kill his wife. So this was like right before that. And they flew us out, and we were shooting in San Diego, I think. And we had this whole video concept at the time where we were just going to do helmet cam before they had GoPros, and we had this big stupid helmet cam rig. And it was going to be from the perspective of one of the band members as they were all kidnapped by these like rebels, like mercenary rebels, and taken out to the middle of the desert and shot to death. Because at the time we had done so many music videos that I was getting tired of the musicians. And so I was just writing treatments where the musicians would get murdered. Those are my treatments. I was like, I just want to fucking murder you in the desert. And so we ended up going out. We permitted this one specific part of the desert, and we had a guide sort of take us out there. And we had a team of like mercenaries all dressed with ski masks. We had our boys in the back of a van, and then we had real firing because I still believe in it. We wanted to do real firing weapons. So we had like very heavy front loaded, heavy charge Uzis and guns.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so we end up driving out to the desert, doing the sequence. And the shot essentially is, at the time, my business partner's wearing the camera. So I'm off over a dune somewhere with a wireless feed, just sort of directing and watching this thing. So I'm essentially watching it happen. And we did a whole take where these guys get pulled out of the back of the van, a car pulls up, and these dudes with flashlights and their guns come and pull them out, and they sort of round them up before they kill them. And we did one take, and I go, oh, it's pretty good, let's do another one. And so I'm watching it on camera, and the door opens, and you see our truck roll over a dune, and these guys get out and they pull out the band members. And then there's a second truck that rolls over the dune. Oh. And then the doors of the second truck open, and this fucking fully outfitted Ranger comes out. And he's got like night goggles on, AK-47, and he comes like running out, and he thinks that there's a group, because there's no crew. He thinks that there's a group that have kidnapped a bunch of people, and they have front firing Uzis. And so he's got guns drawn on everybody, and everybody shits bricks. And I'm over the dune laughing hysterically because I hear my business partner at the time just like screaming like, don't shoot us, don't shoot us. And so the guy comes over and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And we're like, well, we're doing a music video. We're doing this thing. He goes, and we're like, we have it permitted. He goes, well, let me see your permit. We hand him the permit. He goes, this isn't the right fucking spot. You guys are like 20 miles off or whatever the fuck. And we're like, God damn it. And he's like, we're shutting you down. Everything's going to get shut down. And we're like, fuck. And we're walking with this guy. And he's like, how long have you been doing music videos? And I'm like, we've been doing for a while. This is for this band, As I Lay Dying. They're like a pretty big metal act. Do you listen to metal? He goes, no, I don't listen to metal. And we're like, okay. And he goes, but I love hip hop. And I was like, yeah. And I go, well, who's your favorite band for hip hop? And he goes, SNL Esoteric, Czarface. And this is a group from Boston where I used to live that we've done all their videos for randomly. And we're like, really? And
what are they called?
It was Czarface. So it's like the group, the members from 7L Esoteric teaming up with Inspector Deck from Wu-Tang and doing like this really great collab. I just recently did a video with them and Tom Segura, which was good. But anyway, this guy in the fucking middle of the desert knew who this band was. And he was just like, I fucking love those guys. And we go, really? And he goes, yeah. And we go, can we still shoot? And he goes, yeah, I'll stay here. And we didn't tell him that the Uzis had front firing blanks in them. He goes, yeah. And so we're like, all right, cool. Let's do another take. And there's just shooting with flames coming out of the front of these fucking Uzis. And the guy's screaming at us like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, man. So yeah, no, we get away with a lot for the business that we're in. Totally get away with a lot, dude. Okay, guys and girls, you know the deal. It is time to give thanks to the men and women that help make the show possible. And I am not talking about you, the listener, even though a lot of you guys have been killing it lately. I've noticed when you repost the graphics, there have been quite a few of you that have won free t-shirts for reposting our graphics. It's one of the best ways to get my attention, by the way.
If you repost any of my promotional graphics for the episode and tag Mike Pecci in it, or tag In Love with the Process Pod in it, you're going to get my attention. And there's a handful of listeners that have won free t-shirts for doing it. So if you look at any of the merch that I end up posting, if you want to see one of the films, one of the best ways to get our attention is to repost our graphics. Whenever we do a release on Tuesdays, repost immediately. We keep track of all this stuff. That's how we have amassed our super fans. And what do I mean by super fans? I mean the listeners that are consistently supporting the show and sending new listeners, setting their friends to listen to the show. You can ask them. We know who they are. We reward you for this sort of thing. So, but anyways, I'm talking too much about you guys. You guys get way too much of my attention. Right now, it is time to give thanks to the sponsors of the show. Now, before you skip forward, I wouldn't do so because more often than not, in this section, I'm giving little tips on how I use gear. I'm giving little tips on the stuff I like. So be smart about it, right? And while you're listening to this stuff, please click the links below the show. All these links are traceable links. And what that means is our sponsors know when you go there and you're sent there by us, okay? Which means that they'll continue to sponsor the show. Now, I know you're like, Mike, we know you're making an assload of money off your sponsorships. We love that. I wish that was the case. I wish that was the case. Any money that we make on this show, whether it's through merch, whether it's through sponsors, is to help pay for the costs that the show needs to stay up. You'd be surprised how much it costs to do like hosting for the show. You'd be surprised how much it costs for any of this stuff. It's crazy. So these people help me keep from reaching into my rent account to give you free content. All right. So let's start from the beginning here. And here's the great news. We have a brand new sponsor. And if you're listening to this right now, you may notice that I sound just a little bit different. That's because I'm speaking into a brand new microphone right now. How cool is that? And I know a lot of you guys listening have your own podcast. There's a lot of other podcast content creators that are fans of this show. And you guys might find this fascinating. Right now, I am talking with Electro Voice. So if you go to electrovoice.com, these guys have made speakers in the past. Right now, they're putting out a brand new microphone, right? So it's the RE20 Variable D Dynamic Cardioid Microphone. That's what I'm talking into right now. It's pretty awesome, right? It's got a pretty good little bass line in the background. My voice sounds really good on it. It really hasn't been affected. This is what the microphone sounds like. It's pretty cool. These guys reached out to me a couple weeks ago and they asked, hey, can we send you over a microphone and maybe you could talk about it, try it out, see what you think. What do you guys think? Right? I think the voice sounds pretty awesome with it. When I'm moving around the microphone a bit, it's nice. It's really nice. It's very professional. It looks like the type of microphone that'd be hanging in Howard Stern's studio. I buy that. I like the way I sound on it. It's pretty cool. Well, let me read through some stuff here with it. So like I said, this is from Electro Voice. So if you go to electrovoice.com, you can check it out. This is the RE20 microphone. Key features on this microphone. Not only is it used for broadcast show hosts like myself, but it's also ideal for instrument recording, especially kick drums and acoustic guitars. So if you guys are musicians out there, you may want to look into this. Studio condenser response, yet no powering required, which is pretty cool. Large, what does this say? Large acoustic alloy diaphragm. Man, I'm a moron. Low mass aluminum voice coil. Jesus, Michael, get your shit together. Dual ported, continuously variable D with minimum proximity effect. All this stuff is really nerdy, but it goes into making my voice sound this good. I'm into it. Steel case with humbuckling coil provide exceptional magnetic shielding. That's cool. That's cool. Look, I don't know much about all the tech stuff on microphones. I'll be 100% honest about it. I made a decision early in my career, even though I love sound and I love sound design, I got hyper-focused on visuals, so I kind of rely on my sound team to tell me what gear is really great, but I know what I hear. I know what stuff sounds like, and my voice sounds really good on this. So I would definitely check it out. These guys are really great. I'm doing a terrible job reading through the tech specs, so head on over to electrovoice.com and check out the RE20 Variable D Dynamic Cardioid Microphone. I think it's pretty rad. And these guys seem pretty cool when I chatted with them, so maybe I can convince them to stick around longer as a supporter of the show. Maybe you'll hear my voice through this microphone longer. And let me know what you guys think. Send me a message. Do you like the way my voice sounds here as opposed to the way my voice sounds during the interview? Because I'm just using this microphone for the ad read because I want to see the difference. And I'll let you guys decide at home. Decide what you think. Which microphone's better. All right. Also, supporting the show, as always, are our good friends over at Puget Systems. It's the holiday time, man. It's Christmas season's here. And I know a lot of you guys still get big, fat Christmas checks from your parents. I know a lot of you guys are getting nerdy about the new Cyberpunk video game. By the way, what do you guys think? Because I know there's a lot of you that play video games that listen to the show. What do you guys think of the new Cyberpunk game? I have been jonesing on this because I haven't brought myself to buy it yet. Because they check off all the right boxes for me, right? So Cyberpunk, huge fan of Cyberpunk. It literally looks like a Neuromancer, but is like Grand Theft Auto Neuromancer. That's basically what the game looks like to me. The design's really cool. The promotions are really cool. The advertising's really cool. We talk about that on this episode. Like Mike Diva did the Run the Jewels bit for it. I don't know, man. I haven't been able to bring myself to buy it yet. Mostly because I know that I'm deep in prep on a film. And in that prep, like if I'm taking away from that prep time because I'm lost in a video game, it's kind of shitty. So, but anyway, if you are trying to play that game right now and you realize that your system isn't beefy enough, because I've seen the specs for that game, I've seen what the specs need to be, and you're like, I gotta buy a new system, I gotta buy a new PC, I just don't know how to build one, I don't know where to start. Do yourself a favor, do what I did, because I did the same thing for a video editing system. I knew that Mac wasn't doing what I needed anymore, they weren't supporting me, and it was costing me a fucking fortune to stay with those guys. And so I wanted to build myself a PC, but I was also running a post-production company at that point, and I didn't want to be tech support for the entire production company. So I hunted hard. I looked high and low, and I was going through a bunch of these PC builders, and a lot of them are just hyper-focused on video games. And I wanted a company that had fantastic tech support, like actual human beings that you can get on the phone and talk to. But then I also wanted a smaller company that actually gave a shit, right? And since I was building a video edit system, I didn't necessarily need the lowrider from Fast and Furious with the fucking ground effects and LED lights within the unit. I just wanted a beast. I wanted a machine. I wanted to be able to put all my money into the horsepower. I want to put all my money into the processing speed. I want to put all my money into the storage space. And so I found this company called Puget Systems. So go check them out. It's PugetSystems.com. There they build custom machines based upon the software you use. I bet you those guys could build a mean video game system, by the way. And they're incredibly affordable. They understand budget. They understand how to spend that money. They've benchmark tested all the different hardware products out there. So they put it to the test. And the big thing is with all these software platforms like Adobe, there's continuous releases, right? Those updates that come out and suddenly the hardware you have is rendered fucking useless. It drives me nuts. These guys actually work hand in hand with the software providers. They try to figure out what hardware is going to last the longest. They try to figure out what hardware works the best. So if you're trying to get a modern machine, right? You want a brand new machine that can run real-time 4K sequences. You want your rendering to be faster. My new machine renders out video, 4K video, at this ridiculous speed. You know, my old machine would run it out real time, right? So if I had a 15-minute piece, it would take like 15 minutes to run the thing out. This thing runs out like 3x as fast. I sit here and I go, fuck, that's like a 2-minute render? That's like a 1-minute render? Fuck, that's fast. So my new machine from Puget's pretty awesome. And so if you guys are looking to build a brand new computer, like I said, if you're video gaming and you want to get deep into it, definitely go check out PugetSystems.com. And the cool thing about these guys is they do not manufacture hardware. So they're not going to be peddling off their shit on you. These guys know the deals out there. They surf the internet. Now, if you're not from the US, the big issue that I've heard from a lot of the fans are like, look, we love Puget, but they don't ship internationally. They also have a consultation program that they've set up there. So you can, I think it's like $500. You can talk to Puget and they will give you the specs. They will help you build your own Puget system remotely. So you can actually go through the process of getting all their advice on the hardware to build your own system if you're not within their shipping lanes, which I think they ship anywhere in the US. I think they just don't ship internationally. So definitely go check them out. PugetSystems.com. Also supporting the show, as always, are our good friends over at Quasar Science. One of the best advancements in our industry has been lighting. I know you guys have noticed this, but one of the negative parts of lighting, I was just talking to Gina about this the other day, is that every music video director these days likes to put Quasar tubes in the videos. They love it. You know, so it's always in the background. It's like, wow, this is really fucking cyberpunk, dude. And it's got fucking Quasar tubes changing colors. If you like that shit, if you want to be recreating that look, check out Quasar. Because that's where they're getting those tubes to do that. But they're also incredibly useful if you use them the real way, right? If you're using like a Quasar as maybe you've got like 2 or 3 tubes chained together and you're using those as a nice soft source. Because what you can definitely count on when it comes to Quasar LEDs is when they're balanced, right? So if you're looking for balanced daylight or balanced tungsten, these units are 100% on point. I hate it when I get really schlocky LED lights and then you're in the edit and you're looking and you're like, does this shot look more fucking green than the last shot? Why is this pink? That's supposed to be tungsten. And then what you end up having to do is color grade that stuff out. And I've always noticed that when I'm trying to color grade out shifting color tones from LED units, it really starts to fuck with the look of the whole piece. So now you have to go through the shots that are correctly balanced and make them look shittier to match the stuff that just wasn't balanced right. I know I'm doing a bad job explaining that for those of you who don't do lighting, but those that do, you understand what I'm talking about. Save yourself the time and energy in the color grade and get yourself properly balanced LED units. And Quasar hunts hard for really well-made LED parts for their stuff. So if you go on eBay and you find that fucking light from fucking China and it's super cheap, there's a reason for it. Save yourself the time, save yourself the heartache and the frustration, and buy yourself some quality LED units. And Quasar Science is the best place to go for that. So like I said, go to QuasarScience.com. Also, if you guys want to support the show, right, during our holiday boom, when you get that Christmas check or you got that Hanukkah cash from your family, and you want to support the show, the easiest way to do so is to sign up for a free trial at audible.com. We'll have a link below the episode, but I think it's audibletrial.com/inlovewiththeprocess. If you click on that, you'll get 30 days for free. You'll also get a free audio book, I think is what they call it. A free audio book there, which I am reading one or listening to one right now. I'm actually listening to this sequel to Ready Player One. And I know some of you guys are like, what? There's a fucking sequel book? Yeah, I know. It seems to have flown under the radar and no one's really talking about it, but there is a book out right now, Ready Player 2, the sequel written by the same guy, same characters. It picks right up after the end of Ready Player 1, and I'm enjoying it. It's really great. I've been listening to it before I go to bed at night. And I think I've still got like 10 hours left on this book. So I'm hooked. I think it's really fucking cool. I really, really, really loved Ready Player One. This one's got a little bit slower vibe getting into it, but once you start to get into it, man, it's really fucking good. I think he's such a great fucking writer. And so it's great, dude. Go check it out. It's on Audible. And if you do that, sign up for the Audible free trial, right? And then we get paid. After 30 days, you're going to want to stick around longer because you're going to be like, man, this book I want to read. There's all sorts of really great free content on Audible, by the way. There's a whole series. There's a whole Alien series that's like a podcast series on Audible as well that you'll get access to when you sign up for the free trial. So you're going to get hooked. I know a lot of you guys listen to stuff. You're listening to this podcast. Check it out. If you haven't done so already, sign up for the Audible free trial. The link is below the episode. And we'll get paid. For everybody that gets sent from us, we get paid. It's the best way to give money to the show without reaching into your own pocket. So yeah, what do you think? How's the voice sounded through this? I want to do a big shout out again. I want to thank the people over at electrovoice.com for sending over this microphone. Like I said, it's the RE20 Variable D Dynamic Cardioid microphone. Check it out. My voice sounds pretty fucking sexy on it, I think. Anyway, that's enough on the ad read. Let's get back to the show.
Oh, yeah. The other thing that I was kind of chuckling at, how did you get the LA Transit Authority gig? What a strange client for you.
Yeah, that was a strange client. I don't know. Like I think somebody there must have seen the Donald Trump thing and for some fucking reason was like, oh, this would work for a set of government PSAs. And I was like, okay. Those were just like honestly an excuse for me to make hyperpop music with my brother. So like writing all the music and getting to do little music videos was really fun for me.
I was going to ask that. So you write a lot of this music for these things, right?
Yeah. So like even like for stuff like Pre-Birth and stuff, like I come from like a music background, so I like to have as much control over that as possible. And my brother is a amazing like pop producer and actually not just pop, but all sorts of stuff. Mm-hmm. I actually just did a music video for his band that it just dropped last week. So like we got a chance to do all these like I convinced them to let me do like 3 music videos that all kind of had they're all PSAs, so they're all about like safety on the fucking public transportation, mm-hmm. Which is really fun. And then they asked for like 3 more. And let me tell you, like writing more than 3 songs about public transportation, it's really hard. You run out of stuff that rhymes with train. And but it was fun, man. It was a blast.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it was funny because I was just going through your work for the show and I was like, how the fuck does the math add up to that? That's weird.
Dude, I've done several. It's fucking weird, man. I did one last year actually that was also a government PSA for not smoking weed and driving. And it was starring an anthropomorphic cheetah. Yeah, and I don't know why the government trusts me with these things. But yeah, the only benefit is you can kind of like you get to legitimately say it's good enough for government work in a real way.
Well, I think there's a lesson to be learned here that most government officials are watching your work at this point.
Yes. That is the main takeaway, is that the government has their eyes on me at all times.
So what's your writing process like for these projects? Are you just like, are you fucking tripping on acid when you come up with a lot of these ideas? Like what's your process?
A lot of banging my head against the wall and like comparing like the idea to everything else that's ever existed. And like, I'm trying to like make sure that like, you know how it is. It's like the struggle of like, well, I want this to not be, anything like whatever the million other videos like this there are. And like, what makes this different, and like what can make this stand out, what will grab people's attention. And, so it's a process involving a lot of pacing around and getting really frustrated at myself and my fucking stupid brain. And then, it's with like It's funny, like some stuff like the I don't know if you saw the Halo Top commercial with the robot.
Yeah.
But that one was like really tricky because like they literally just gave me a budget and said like do something that grabs the internet's attention. I was like, okay, well, how do you do that with ice cream? Well, make it fucking weird, a little bit creepy.
Yeah.
And there's already a creepy, weird ice cream commercial out there for this Baby Bell's ice cream. I don't know if you remember that, but it's like a girl that's all covered in ice cream eating the top of her head.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. And I was like, well, fuck, like how do I beat that? I guess. And then my producer Josh and my DP Aaron came over to my house with like a bunch of Four Locos, and we drank a shitload of Four Locos, and then the idea just popped in my head. So sometimes Four Locos help, I guess. I don't know.
That's perfect. That's what I was imagining your writing room to be. Four Locos sitting
Four
around.
Locos on deck. Yeah.
Staring at each other, just drinking. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. But yeah, man, writing is like coming up with ideas is like my least favorite thing.
Yeah, it could be kind of a cunt, can it? Like it's like
it really can.
Yeah. And then especially if you're doing stuff for a client like that where they're like, just get the attention of the internet, and then you start losing yourself in the whole.
Oh yeah. Right. Because you have no sound box to play in.
Yeah, right. And then you're just looking around going like, what the fuck? There's no rhyme or reason to it. Like everybody's jacking off to this dog that's jacking off on the internet. And like you don't want me to...
that video, by the way. My favorite viral video. Dog jerks off.
You don't
really blowing up last week.
But it's like, you don't want me to make that video. Like, what the fuck?
Right.
You know, like, how does, and in a world where the attention span is so fucking, so narrow, but also so broad, like you can't, it's incredibly frustrating to sort of chase trends and understand trends and try to figure that shit out.
Oh God, it gets harder every week, you know?
Yeah, man. And that's the business, at least for the advertising world. That's the business where it's like, you know, how do we get people, how do we get eyes on this fucking warehouse full of shit that I got to sell, you know? And you're like, God damn it. All right. But you know, at the same token, there's a lot of freedom that comes with, the internet. And there's a lot of freedom that comes with I mean, maybe there's a bit more control that's now happening, but prior to that, at least in the early days when you were jumping on YouTube early on, it was the wild fucking West at that point.
Oh yeah. No, I lucked out for sure. I lucked out because I got in on YouTube when people were still making creative, good content on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's not anything about people, but it's more just about YouTube's soul-crushing algorithms that make it impossible to be creative.
Yeah.
Because they require you upload multiple 10-minute videos a week, at least 10 minutes, at least 2 videos a week, in order for your subscribers to even see what you do. Because YouTube loves to punish people for not uploading frequently enough, and so you know, they hide videos that, you know, if you haven't released a video in a month and you drop one, YouTube doesn't give a shit. So it's very brutal, shitty environment for creativity now. And the only videos that can succeed are people talking to camera and people playing video games. So it sucks. Yeah, I got in right at the time when people were still, you know, championing creativity and, you know, making cool shit.
Yeah, because it's fucking wild. I mean, dude, it's the history of it, though, right? Once the corporations get involved and everything becomes like pasteurized and everything. So now with even now, I'm going to say it, even now with streaming services and shit, like these algorithms have just essentially created like the most mindless, brainless, you know, sitting in front of a fucking television and just feed me fucking cheeseburgers reality that we're in. And you're just like, man, this was originally a place where we, as filmmakers and young filmmakers, as dudes that don't have a lot of money and have a broad sense of imagination, could reach people and to actually get out there and reach folks. And like you said, I don't know how many fucking times you got to deal with someone doing an unboxing video or fucking, you know what I mean? And the culture of folks, like the Twitch culture. I was on Twitch the other day and just sort of going through and I'm like, these motherfuckers are just watching a guy play video games. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But you can't, I mean, but we sound old and out of touch when we talk about it.
I know. And that's the fucking problem. But then, you know, you hit this point where I think that it's going to come back around again because I think people are just getting lethargic where you just, and especially since COVID, we've just been sitting in our place, stewing and marinating in like old content. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I think it's going to come back around again, hopefully.
It doesn't feel like it sometimes, but I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so for the sake of like the Gen Z and beyond, because I want to see more shit. You know, everyone's just like absorbing content, and then nobody's like getting inspired to make it.
Yeah, totally. I don't know. We can get on an old man on the fucking porch rant about this shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
yeah.
It's totally get off my lawn type.
These fucking kids.
But I've been there from the I've been there from the beginning. These kids wouldn't understand where I've been.
I walked uphill both ways, to and from school.
Barefoot in the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, you've had that experience. You still understand that at the end of the day, that's my dad used to say this when I was a kid and I used to watch MTV and shit. My dad was the old guy and he was like, fucking MTV's going to kill your shit. And it's like, it wasn't until I got older that I was like, well, he was kind of right about a lot of that shit. And the editing that came out of MTV and music videos really didn't change the industry in a positive way for a bunch of that stuff. And you don't understand it when you're in it, especially as a kid, because you're like, this is so flashy, this is so fresh, this is so new. And it's literally, there's fucking rooms full of old white guys sitting around trying to figure out how to cram this shit into your face and have you smiling as it gets put in there. And so you're the victim of that, where you're just like, wow, this is built for me. And you're like, yeah, of course it is. It was like fucking designed to be fed to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's, it's with TikTok culture and stuff like that, it's even scarier. And I definitely feel myself getting a little like your dad in the sense that like, oh shit, everyone's attention spans are just totally fucked and we're fucked. Like, dude, I've been on dating. I've been single in the in this hellhole of 2020.
Oh my god, dude.
And just even talking to people on dating apps and stuff, like the amount of girls I've talked to that are like, oh, I actually don't have the attention span to watch a movie. I just watch stuff on YouTube, and I don't. And these are not like young. These are like people, like 28, 27, whatever. It's like, but it's still happens. Like you see the vinification, the Instagram, the TikToks, like totally killing people's attention spans to the point where they can't even watch movies. Like I ask people like, what's your favorite movie? They're like, I don't have one because I don't really watch movies.
Jesus, dude.
And it's like depressing as shit.
I can't imagine being, I was half joking about it with my roommate who is also single during this pandemic. And I'm like, I can't imagine being single currently in like 2020 period or 2019 period. But then with the fucking pandemic, it must have been insane. It must have been insane to be single for that period, dude.
Yeah, real dumb. I mean, yeah.
Real dumb.
Yeah. Just the dumbest.
Yeah, because it's a weird landscape. To be a single guy right now, it's a very strange landscape.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had a relationship at the beginning of the pandemic.
Okay.
But then, we got kind of stuck around each other too much. Like the classic pandemic situation where you're like, okay, well, we're locked in together for weeks and weeks and just kind of only interacting with each other.
Yep.
And so it just kind of imploded on itself. Like we're still good friends, so that's cool. But like it's just we were like, oh no, this does not work at all.
I did.
We wanted,
That's happened. That's happened for so many people. Like the fascinating thing about it is that the pandemic has forced everybody to actually become introspective and to become aware of the situations that they're in and the people that they hang out with. And it's been fascinating. It's been like this really strange sort of cleaning of house that has happened, I think, for a lot of folks.
Oh God, yeah.
Anyways,
I feel like we should steer the conversation into something more fun. Let's talk about fun stuff. I feel like we're getting into bitter old man territory.
Sometimes that happens on the show. I think the listeners of the show are used to it, where they just roll their eyes and they go, "All right, Mike's leading them into the fucking front porch again."
Get me out of this front porch.
But
there's good things that have come from the pandemic too.
Oh fuck yeah, man! Like, I mean, just this, you and me sitting around talking. Like, I think
we got this.
I mean, I'm not going to bitch about the internet all the way, man. Like, the internet has been such a great way to connect with other creatives and a great way to fucking collaborate with people all over the fucking planet. I've got composers in Sweden. You work with people all over the globe for your projects.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a blessing and a curse, and everything is terrible, but also great. So it's fine. We're fine. We're gonna be fine. Totally. Oh God. I mean, it's at least we're like getting work and shit, and that's like I feel like I play the count my blessings game a lot in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important because it's just like fuck. Like I feel like shit sucks, and like I feel like oh fuck, like I fucking hate this. Whatever the situation I'm in with this job, or like I'm getting fucked with like having to pay all this money for a COVID officer and
Sure.
Then I think about like shit. Like imagine if I was like a waiter at a restaurant that relied on tips and like or whatever. Like imagine if I was stuck at home with like 3 kids and I had to like facilitate their schooling and shit. And it's like Jesus, like I am doing better than most people could even hope for, and I need to really appreciate that, and I'm sure the same goes for you too. It's like we're fucking very, very, very lucky to be where we are.
Totally, dude. And for me, it's been, I hate to say that it's been a positive thing because it's been a negative thing for so many people, but it has really been a positive thing for me. Like the ability that I've had not only to reassess the speed and the amount of time that I put into my work, but also for prep, because I'm prepping a feature right now. So it's literally just granted me months and months of prep that I would not normally have, where I can really just sort of take my time and sit here and go, I'm going to work on 3 scenes today, and then I'm going to go fucking watch some TV. And it's nice. It's really nice because, I feel like the work is going to be better for it because I have the time to actually process ideas. Because when we do these projects, especially if you do like a music video or something, the deadlines are fucking ridiculous.
Oh my God, yeah.
And so you're just like on the fly going, oh, fucking this, and then this. And then you get into the post of it and you're just like, man, if I had just had 15 more fucking minutes, I would have figured out better coverage for the sequence and it would have looked better. You know what I mean? And so I don't know if you feel the same way, but oftentimes I see like extra time for prep as a blessing,
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely in the music video world, especially, it's like, fuck, like directors get so fucked just in time. And like, like I keep bringing up the Lil Nas video, but like, dude, like I truly got that job a week before I shot it.
Yeah.
And like, it was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And I guess we gotta pull together a fucking cyberpunk world in 6 days. Cool. All right, let's go. So yeah, that was a fucking mess. But filmmaking is in general a bit of a mess, I think.
Yeah, I mean
everything's a mess,
but it's part of the charm of it too. There is the you go to war essentially every time you do a project, and you go to war with hopefully the right group of people, and then you form a bond with those people, and then the sense of discovery that happens under the gun is often fun.
Right.
It always just bugs me later. You know what I mean? Like, so when you're going back through the videos, you're like, fuck, this was like almost fucking on. And if I had just had a couple of more fucking days, that would have been on point, That's
yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but like I feel that about literally everything that I make, where I can't. I'm sure a lot of filmmakers are like this too. It's like you can't see anything but the mistakes and the shit, like the shit you could have done better, and then it's just like everything, like there's very few videos of mine that I can watch without like cringing at some point and being like, fuck, like I really wish I did that better.
But I'm also surprised too, because I said this, I think, on a recent episode where at least early on, you'll write a joke or you'll come up with an idea on page that makes you laugh when you're putting together the concept, and you're like, this will be funny, boom. And you put it there. And then over the process of cutting it and shooting it and everything else, that thing just becomes so sterilized where you're like, oh my God, is this a joke? What the fuck is this?
Is this funny? Dude, comedy and jokes and stuff. I'd say jokes and horror beats are like the hardest thing to, from concept to completion, pull off in a way that like you said, like, you know, it's like the way I see it, it's like if I write the joke and it makes me laugh while writing it, then I know it's good. If I'm talking with my friends and we're laughing and it's like making us laugh, then it's probably good. Or it's so dumb that it maybe it's I don't know. It's sometimes there's the jokes where it's like, okay, this is only funny because we've been here for so long. But like, you know, translating that joke into the shoot and then after the edit and like maintaining it, fuck, dude, it's so hard. I mean, like I did this Netflix special with the Lonely Island guys with Andy Samberg and Akiva Schaffer. And like there was several jokes in that where like, man, there was like one joke in that Netflix special that we had like at least like 25 different versions of and like different edits of, and we would just like show everybody and be like, what is the funny version of this?
Which in itself is strange, because if you're offering up an audience or whoever's watching at that moment selections of it, then is it as funny because there's multiple selections of it?
And most people don't know how to take in information like that. And like, you know what I mean? Like most people don't know like how to look at each different cut, you know, and usually they'll go with like the first one they saw or whatever.
But then it always makes me laugh later on, because I've had a couple moments in my shorts and pieces that I've done where, you know, I just forget. And so like you go through and you edit and you put this whole thing together and there's a joke in there, but you're more focused on pulling everything else together and you've done your work to pace out that joke in the cut, but then you're over it. You're color grading, you're doing everything else.
Right.
And then you're screening it. Like I was screening, I think it was 12 cam. I filmed 12 cam for the audience and they fucking laugh at this joke. And I just was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Dude, yes.
That's right. That was a funny fucking thing. Oh yeah, that's cool. All right.
Yeah, once upon a time, that was like a joke I was really stoked on. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of it, you know, later on. And do you feel, because a lot of your stuff that you do ends up being released on YouTube and stuff. Have you screened a lot of your work for an audience? Have you been able to sit in a room with an audience and see your stuff?
Yeah, some of it. You know, I don't like the Halo Top one and Pre-Birth was like part of Pre-Birth was like in a couple little festivals, and the Halo Top one was like at the Advertising Awards. So there's like some stuff here and there, but for the most part, no. Which sucks because like I feel like that experience kind of makes it all worth it. You know, it's like you see numbers online, you see comments, it's totally different.
Dude, totally. And this is a funny or an interesting conversation, because I just had this with the episode that we released today with Anthony Boyce, who cuts comedy for TV. So he did like Veep, he did Vice Principals, he did all that stuff.
Oh shit, I love Vice Principals.
Yeah, dude, he's great. And he was talking about how difficult it is to get feedback on the show when they're deep in the post-production of a season, because they never really get to see it with fans. They never really get to see it with an audience. And so they're constantly trying to show it to specific people to get that feedback. Because when you screen something for folks, as you know, whether you're screening it in your edit room or if you screen it in a theater, the entire perception changes. It's like this strange, uncanny moment where like you're transported out of your own body into theirs, and they don't even have to say a fucking thing. You're suddenly seeing it through their eyes and going like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, seeing it through the different lens for sure. And sometimes, like when you don't have that opportunity to kind of show it to people and see it from outside your own head, that's where weed comes in sometimes.
But I also feel like a lot of the feedback that you get from online chat forums and that kind of shit, or like comments under fucking YouTube videos, is it's not real feedback, and it's really dissatisfying for me, where like you spend all this time doing it and someone goes, wow, awesome, smiley face, flame fucking thing, and you're just like, oh, that's all I get from you,
dude. Fucking showing your shit to like friends and getting like that reaction that's like, yeah, cool.
I hate that.
It's like the worst, it's the worst. It's like, and especially like I almost like, I have a policy now where I like don't show my friends or anybody like rough cuts now unless I'm like directly asking them for feedback, which is like there's not that many people that I really show and want feedback from. But like, if you show like a rough cut to people, it's like it totally diminishes the impact of when they see the final thing.
Sure.
And makes it like this kind of half, okay, I get the idea of it. I got the idea of it. I saw it in this shitty form. Oh, and now I'm seeing it a little bit more polished up, but I already got it. You know what I mean? And then like the reaction is very like, oh yeah, no, yeah, that was pretty cool. I live for reactions. I live for like getting a reaction out of somebody.
Me too, dude. Me too.
So like, yeah, man, like showing the video and getting a pretty cool is like always, it's always tricky. It's always rough.
It drives me crazy. That's why I do horror. I do horror because I'm an older brother and I've got 3 younger siblings, and I love to fucking tease the shit out of them. And that was what I loved to do as a kid. And so for me, it's like, I just want to make everybody shit themselves. That's my favorite thing in the world. Like if I can have a screening where like people have to get up and go to the bathroom because they've shit themselves, I will be so happy with that. That is like the ultimate review for me.
Right. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, the films I have in the works are well, there's 2 horror and 1 that's more of a biopic. But
nice.
I love the world of horror, and I haven't really gotten a chance to play in it as much as I'd like to.
Dude, it's fun. I love it, man. It's like my favorite place to be because it's the genre that we'll see after post-COVID, but it's still the genre that brings people in the theaters. It's still the genre that studios will take risks on. It's still like that playground that can be dangerous. I think one of the issues that I've had with horror lately, and I've said it on the show quite a few times, is that it's being co-opted by a lot of other folks from other genres because their genres have been sort of closed off for the theater. So like to try to make like a 30 million fucking drama, you just aren't going to get the money for that anymore.
Right.
And so you're getting a lot of comedians, you're getting a lot of dramatic talent going into the horror world, and then they package it as a horror film, and then you watch it, you go, it's really not that fucking scary. This was a fucking family drama, and it was a good family drama, but it's not a fucking horror movie. And
what are your just sorry to interrupt.
Sure, go ahead.
Curious. What are your favorite horror movies
of all time?
Let's say in the past 20 years.
Past 20 years. Let's do the math.
To make things interesting.
Let's do the math on it. 20 years would be, what is that? Is that the 80s? No, it's more than.
How about let's just say since you know what? Fuck it. Let's say all time.
Okay. Well, if it's all time, I'd go The Thing.
Oh, do the same.
So it would be The Thing, Alien. It would be The Exorcist.
Nice.
It would be more current stuff. I thought that the Gore Verbinski's The Ring was fantastic.
Dude, we have a very similar horror taste.
Oh, dude. And then as you get into, I mean, I love a lot of trash horror. So like I love a lot of old Grindhouse shit. And so you're like I'll watch like old, like the original Suspiria. I'll watch
Society.
Yeah. I'll watch, fucking, like a lot of old Rodriguez shit. And then, for current stuff, I mean, John Carpenter is like kind of the Bible for me. So like any old John Carpenter stuff, like The Fog and all that. But then as we get into the current shit, I would say, what was the last film that really blew my dick off?
Oh, Hereditary. Come on now.
Yeah. Okay. Look. All right. I'm going to take the stance. I'm going to be the fucking guy that takes the stance.
Here we go.
And it's because, and I'm just going to let you know why. It's because when Hereditary came out, me and my writing partner were out pitching to production companies. So when Hereditary came out, every fucking production company that we went into, they would read our treatment and go, have you seen Hereditary? And I was like, fuck you. And so that was the first reason why I had a bad attitude about it. But then the second reason is I've seen Rosemary's Baby and I've seen The fucking Exorcist. So I've seen both those movies. And Hereditary has like 2 great scenes in it that I'm like, fuck yeah. Those scenes are fucking phenomenal. But is it the jack-off fest that everybody talks about? I don't know, dude.
I don't know, man. Sounds like you got your own shit stirred up into the pot there.
There's a lot of my own shit stirred up into that pot.
Yeah, dude. Hereditary is fucking fantastic.
It's a good movie. It's all right.
It's fucking good, man. I don't know. How many times have you seen it?
Like 2. I'd say like 2 times.
Okay.
Saw it in the theater.
I would say that as far as modern horror goes, no other has affected me so much as that. And yeah, it's like a little Rosemary's Baby and like whatever, but it's not. It's totally different. And the whole unreliable narrative, like the idea of like the unreliable narrator and like the flip of that, where it's like, oh no, she's not crazy. Like it's all real and it's all crazier than you can imagine. And also, I have a soft spot for like cults.
Oh sure. Yeah.
And Satan.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, totally.
I really get a kick out of that stuff. So, when I got to the Lord Paimon stuff, I was just like, oh fuck yes, I'm so glad they did this.
I was pumped. Have you seen Possessor yet? Have you seen the recent one?
I have. I wanted to like it more than I did, but I liked it.
I really enjoyed the tone of that. I really enjoyed what he was doing.
Yeah, you know what it was is it's one of those things where it's like I'd been so hyped on it for so long.
Yeah.
And I love Cronenberg.
Yep.
And that fucking poster is so captivating to me, and I was like, I cannot wait to see what is going on with this girl's face.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then when it turned out to just be like this rubber mask for this like obscure scene, I was just like a little bit disappointed.
The rejection of the hype. That's a real thing.
Yeah. So the hype kind of fucked with me.
Yeah.
But now knowing what it is, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful movie with a fucking crazy, amazing score, and it's beautifully shot and beautifully made. So I think I need to revisit it.
Yeah. Check it out again. I mean, for me these days, I've just been really refreshed with like the offbeat shit that's actually able to still be made, like that stuff.
Yeah, man.
Like Mandy still fucking, makes me happy. So.
Oh, I loved Mandy.
There's a bunch of that really off.
I also loved Color Out of Space.
Yeah, I thought it was cool, man. It was really cool. I thought they did a good job.
I liked it way better than I thought I would. Yeah.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to be at the premiere out here in Los Angeles.
Oh, nice. Was Richard Stanley there?
Yeah, he's such a like a little Eeyore, because he's been through so much shit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So like you see him on stage, he's such a sweetheart. And the kid in that, I forget the kid's name, the kid actor, he's fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, he was amazing
and incredibly charismatic in real life.
Oh my god, when he gets fused, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but that is so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I remember growing up watching Hardwired, Hardware, and that I can't believe that's like the same director, because that movie's insane.
Yeah.
And not good, but also I love killer robots, so like of course I ate that shit up.
Yeah. Dude, you and I could. It sucks that we're in COVID, because otherwise I'd be like, have you here and have beers, and we get fucking totally nerdy.
Hey, when all this blows over.
Yeah,
let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Let's get some fucking horror shit going.
But
look, I'm holding you up long enough. We're sort of pushing that time where this is the point of the show where I usually ask my guests to give a little advice to the young listeners on the show. And I would say, for you, I would ask. Well, your career it seems from the outside, it seems that your career has been built on you doing 2 things. 1, taking risks, and 2, having fun, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so what do you think is the most important aspect of being getting started? Like, how would you suggest folks getting started, and like, Is it just as simple as picking up a camera and having a good time? Like, what would your... Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I mean, that's a good question. And I think that the most important thing, especially nowadays, is persistence and not giving up when you get your heart broken and you pour a bunch of time and energy and effort into something that you do and nobody gives a fuck or like nobody likes it.
Yeah.
Which happens to all of us, and I think that as a filmmaker, I think that is like getting thick skin and persevering throughout all that shit is like, I think the most important thing, because it's so easy to pour all your energy and effort into a project and think that it's the greatest thing or think that people are going to react to it differently. And then you release it and nobody cares and it gets whatever, not, doesn't get any views or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get down about that stuff. So I always say like, give yourself like make a thing. If people don't like it, give yourself a few days to feel sorry for yourself and move the fuck on and make something else, and I think that's it gets very easy to kind of get down on yourself and to get, to release something and then be like, oh, nobody likes what I do and then give up. So just the whole like not giving up until you really find your stride and like find what you're good at and find what makes you as a filmmaker like special. I think that's the most important advice I can give.
It's good advice, man. And I completely agree with it because this business beats the fuck out of you. And so you hit a point where you're just like, you end up on like a incredible high. You get a phone call and it's like, we're going. And you're like, fuck yeah. And then like 6 hours later, they're like, we killed your mother. And you're like, fuck.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's brutal.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And so you got to get that thick skin and building up that callus, that thick skin, I think is the most important thing you can do because you're going to get your heart broken.
There it is. I had as much fun with this show as I thought I was going to. So I was not let down. Mike was a great guest. I love his fucking story. I love his fucking story about getting arrested. Jesus Christ, man. Talk about lucky. Lucky. And it's crazy what the reach that your work has, right? When you do your stuff and you just sort of post it online and then years go by and you're like, nah, no one really gives a shit anymore. It always blows my mind when I go into a bar, when I used to go into a bar, when I go into a place and I meet a stranger, and if I'm wearing a shirt from a band that I've done something for, and they're like, Killswitch Engage, did you do that? And then it's like, fuck. You never really think about the reach that these things have. And when you're just looking at numbers on YouTube, it's like, okay, 1 million views, 500,000 views, 500 views. Think about the room that fills that amount of people. Think about the scale of the reach that you're having with these things. And it always blows my mind. Years ago, I was out here visiting in California and I just walked into a coffee shop. Randomly walked into a coffee shop and the guy working as a barista was like, Mike? And he just looked at me and I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I've seen your stuff online. And I'm like, holy fuck. I had no idea. I didn't live out here yet. I had no idea. So it blows my mind. And in Mike's scenario, it came in handy. Got him off the hook. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys like how candid we are in the show, and I hope you guys enjoy the holes that we dive down into, and sometimes we go into dark places, but the truth of the matter is this is a great fucking job. I love every day that I get to do it, and the days that I don't get to do it, I'm jonesing to do it again, like a fucking crack addict. I'm in the corner shaking until I can get back on set. It's been too long, and I got the shakes. I can't wait. Cannot wait. So when it gets dark on the show, it's just because there's an underlining fucking like, oh, can we get back to work? And I know you guys are all feeling the same thing. And I just want to say, like, I appreciate all of you. And I hope that this show continues to inspire. I hope that it makes you laugh. And I hope it makes you feel good. And I'm just happy to be able to bring it to you guys. And as always, thanks for listening. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. When am I recording? What's today? Today's like, it's pre-Christmas. I don't know when this episode's going to come out. We'll try to fast track this one, but things have been good on my end. I've been doing a lot of prep. Been prepping in this project that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, which has been really great. And then, we're prepping for Christmas. Are you guys prepping for your holiday? We actually went out and bought like a big fat fucking tree this year, decorated it up. Gonna do like a good meal. We're gonna do I think we're gonna do the 7 fishes. I finally found a spot here in Los Angeles that had some decent shellfish. So I think we're gonna do 7 fishes for Christmas Eve. For those of you who aren't Italian, those of you who don't know, that's a tradition. Every Christmas Eve, you try to serve 7 different dishes, each with a different fish. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. And this year we're going to try to bang that out. So me, Gina, and Mike are going to get fat Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day we'll do a nice and chill big meal. Watch movies all day, I think. It's nice. It's nice. It's exciting. I'm into it. I hope you guys are prepped for your holiday. I hope you guys have a safe and a happy holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you want to celebrate. And just remember, I know that we're not allowed to be hanging out with family. Be responsible about that. Remember that COVID is real. And just because we get depressed and we get stir crazy doesn't mean that the virus just stops doing its thing. So be responsible about it. But even if you can't go home, like we're not going to go home, even if you can't go home and see your family, that doesn't mean that you can't create your own fun little ritual. And it doesn't have to be something huge, man. Make yourself a good meal. Make yourself a good meal on Christmas. Spend some time. Look it up. Try to figure out how to do it. Make yourself a good meal. Have a great holiday, guys. And as always, I'll see you next Tuesday.